Somebody asked that I post something on the DOD Vibro Thang. This is a vibe/phase pedal. It's been out since the early 90s. I had my first one in about 94, 95. They've had a couple different versions of this, and they've changed some of the descriptions for some of the knobs on the front. This particular one has RPMs, drop, intensity, and image is what they're labeled. I don't think the sounds have changed. They're just trying to give a better description to what they do. I find I use it most as a very subtle vibe effect, and I use it at the beginning of a pedal chain into any distortions or overdrives I'm using. Right now I've got my amp set clean, and with the pedal on, has a very nice sound. It has a little blanketing effect. When it comes up into the high end, though, it kind of redeems itself. It adds a little bit of a fuzziness to the high end peaks on this. It's definitely not a pristine sounding pedal. As a matter of fact, if you're running into a little distortion, like I'm running it into the OCD set fairly low, kind of hear how the high end kind of fuzzes out a little bit, and I actually like that. It's got a warmth to it that I enjoy. If you take this down, which is the speed, the RPM knob, and what I'm going to do is show you what this drop knob does. This affects the amplitude of the wave, so it's the volume. It gets kind of choppy. This intensity is actually what I would term the phase control, and it's kind of like lets the phase into the whole process, but it's tied to the image control. Now right now I have it set where it's just about ready to come in. If you turn it down here, you can barely hear it, but as you turn it over here to the left, it gets a little more wah sounding. What's kind of neat is the interaction between the drop and the intensity can give you some different phase effects right off the bat. Adding the image to it, I'm going to back off the drop here a little bit. Adding a little bit more image, you basically increase the throatiness of the wah. Basically, it increases the depth. It's a wah depth. And the reason I'm calling it a wah depth instead of a phase depth is it really sounds like a wah. It's almost uncanny how much it sounds like somebody just going wah, wah, wah. And of course, if you go totally nuts with all the knobs, you get some really interesting effects. But most of the time I'm using it like I had it set up originally as more of a vibe pedal thing, which I think it does really well. It tends to be a little less harsh than others I've heard, a little smoother. And once again, I'm running this into overdrive, so if we pull the overdrive out, sounding effect, and I like it a lot. Doesn't have a lot of noise, but it does actually produce some. You run it into some distortions, and you'll hear the whooshing of it, but it's nothing too bad. There's no buzziness to it. I use it at the front of my distortion chain. I've got 4 or 5 pedal effects in a row that are all true bypass, so this helps buffer the front end, and it does so in a pretty good way, kind of the same way I'd expect a Boss pedal would. Actually using this at the beginning of the chain and running a Boss BF3 flanger at the end of the chain. And between the two, I'm finding that they balance each other out, and it helps my signal chain sound a little bit more clear.